today.
Hey, Shalom fam. I'm just gonna wait for maybe a few more minutes and then I'm gonna start. This is just one of those classes that just came out the spirit. I just saw something and I gotta remind our people, man. I gotta remind our people, okay? So just give you a few minutes, okay? It shouldn't be too long of a class. I appreciate y'all who's tuning in. You're not gonna want to miss this, all right? We got something to prove because anyways, so let me just get ready.
Sinner made a bang.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right. Let me go ahead and just get started, guys. If y'all miss it, well, you miss it. If you don't, you don't. All praises if you're listening. Okay. So if you want to maybe confirm that you guys can hear me, that'd be great. Just to be safe, so I can continue, and we'll be set to go. I just want to make sure audio is good. Is audio good? I just need one particular. Anyway, any brother or sister that's just listening, I just need to know if the audio is good. Okay, I can get started ASAP as long as I know. Okay, all praises. All praise, Mexican. All praises, brother. I appreciate you. All right, let me go ahead and get started. Let me read this real quick. Um, this is a disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer. It says this content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property or any of the material used today from MSNBC or any other network provider. It is their content. Okay, the content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles does not intend to make any use of the material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material in use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law. I keep saying that I'm going to record this and I forget. All right, so anyhow, I appreciate you, brother. So here's what I'm going to start with, man. I had to be look. I wasn't. My goal was just to do one class in the afternoons because I realized that in the mornings, a lot of people are busy. But then all of a sudden, I was speaking to my wife, and then we got a feed, and then it reminded me, and we got to nip this in the butt, man, because now it's like all of a sudden Kanye West, and then that basketball player Irving. Oh wow! Now you got all these so-called Hebrew Israelites, but the majority of them are converts. Now they're making a big deal about these wicked men. You think they got to that point by being righteous? On top of that, we've proven it left and right. Let's continue with this, man, because this is all I see. Now, if the YouTube wants to like block me on this, I'm gonna move it over. Okay, but I just want to show you this is the propaganda that we keep hearing over and over and over and over and over. Listen, guys, the so-called Hispanics and Native Indians that suffered the pillaging, destruction, rape, murder, stolen lands, all of that happened to us. Do I ever hear of anybody saying anything regarding that? No. It is just completely ignored. Completely ignored. And then we hear movies like this, and it's like really the hypocrisy, man. Sincerely. So let's go. Again, if they try to stop me, I'm gonna move it over.
I understand you think you are defending the plight of the black man. Or yes, in your case, the black woman. But we are doing a disservice to the argument, much less your people, by conflating race with basic common sense.
I would say this.
The disenfranchisement of Black people in America is by design written into the actual DNA of this country. Your argument, however flawed, has been successfully promoted and propagated through repetition. We hear it over and over again. But I'm here to tell you that this vicious cycle of inequity will soon be broken.
Let me remind you that this is a movie, obviously, right? But it's really check out the scenario they got going on here. This woman is wealthy. If you see the movie, she has generational wealth. The nerve of her, as if suffering really applied to her. And if you watch the whole movie, like it literally has never applied to her. They have a very superioritic attitude, if that's such a word. I think I just made one up. But anyhow, that's one thing. Then we see this here. Doesn't stop.
The legacy of slavery and placing slavery at the center of the narrative. And that's what we did. It's not that we were hiding anything. I find the backlash in some ways unsurprising and in some ways surprising. For instance, with respect to Mr. Page, when one suggests that the 1619 Project is a project about Black victimization and not patriotism, it makes me wonder if Mr. Page even read the project, or if Mr. Page even read my essay, because my essay is about how Black people, despite undergoing chattel slavery, legal apartheid, lynching, racial terrorism, segregated schools, segregated housing, segregated military, believed fervently in the founding ideals and have fought generation after generation to make those ideals true. And in fact, had a faith in a country that didn't treat us as citizens and expanded democracy for all Americans. I don't think that's the and one that will probably be the most surprising to readers is the one by Harvard historian Taya Miles on settler colonialism, Indian removal, and how the 5 so-called civilized tribes also engaged in chattel slavery. I knew we needed to have an essay that dealt with Indian removal, but we had to find the right one. So, and one that will probably.
They had to find the right one. The right one. Okay? So all I see is, oh, we suffered. We suffered. Everybody's against us. We weren't considered, yet they considered every other nationality in this country. Okay, let's continue. We got more. And then this. And you know what the worst part is, brothers and sisters? That you got maybe even our own brethren. It's lost in the sauce, man. Straight up lost in the sauce. Guys, you guys really need to like study geography. I'm gonna show y'all what I mean by that. Y'all need to really study geography. For the curses to apply, they have to make clear cut sense. Clear cut sense. That's why the title is called Africans Are Not Hebrews or Israelites. Let me say that again. The so-called black man that came with the so-called white man from Europe, okay? That's the truth about most of you black folks. You are not Hebrews. And I'm gonna remind you guys today, because this is ridiculous. Even our own people are like pushing this stuff, man. Literally. It's like, yo, what? Our own gente, bro. Like, they really fell for the sauce on this part. Watch.
Something that could have been avoided. No one said we had to practice racism. No one said we had to treat each other like garbage. No one said that I had to stand here today and understand that many people that come from generations 60 years ago, 40 years ago, enslaved some of my ancestors still, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and it's still going on. You guys are asking me, respectfully, to speak on something that was a documentary that I had nothing to do with. I didn't make it. So just please keep that same energy when you guys are addressing me.
Perry, for the record, do you have any anti-Semitic beliefs?
Again, I'm going to repeat. I don't know how the label becomes justified because you guys ask me the same questions over and over again. But this is not going to turn into a spin around cycle, questions upon questions. told you guys how I felt. I respect all walks of life and embrace all walks of life. That's where I sit.
I think what people want to hear, though, is just a yes or no on that question. Yes or no.
I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from.
All right. So let's go ahead and remind them, first of all, because here's the bottom line, all right? The black Hebrew Israelites, because that's what I'm going to call y'all, because the majority of the black Hebrew Israelites are converts, okay? I'm going to make that very clear. The curses of Deuteronomy 28 were the main reason why y'all started preaching in the streets, okay? That was the main reason. But then now, as you start looking and dissecting Deuteronomy 28, you realize that, hey, man, that don't apply to you guys at all. Only one verse. Verse 68. Well, let's just say that verse 68 was never there. What happens to the rest of the curses? Oh, you're right. You can't match them. And we're going to go through them because you know what? Here's the bottom line with us, okay? You so-called Hispanics and Native Indians of indigenous descent, okay? I'm not talking about you heathens that look like us and then, Lord willing, don't smell like us, but you probably do, wear the shirts and do all that. I'm not talking to you guys. You're not our gente. I know this for a fact, okay? I'm talking to our gente here, like our people, okay? This is what happened in the curses. And I'm going to read Deuteronomy 28:49 so then you guys can actually see the map, and I'm going to show y'all. Because this did happen to us. And geographically, it makes perfect sense. Deuteronomy, and I know I read it often, but we got to read it, man, because apparently some people need some geographical education. Even more common sense, the so-called intellectual ones, the Sikaris, the IUICs, right? The GMSs, the IUCPKs. For some reason, they just, forget about the geographical aspect of the Bible. Deuteronomy 28:49, it says, the Lord shall bring a nation against you from far. Okay, so we know that the so-called natives, the so-called Hispanics, right? The people from these islands here, all this continent right here, we know that a nation from afar came. We know that they came from here. Spain, Portugal, France, Dutch, Germany, Hungary, Austria, Britain, Sweden, Norway. They all had a lot to do with the trafficking. Okay? So we know now, geographically, it says, the Lord shall bring a nation against you from far. The Most High is going to bring a nation against us from far, from the end of the earth. Geographically, that means it's here, one continent, the eastern continent, right? And then the western continent, right? That's pretty far, guys. Shoot, it's 3,000 miles between California to New York. That's another, what, 6,000 miles, maybe 1,000, 10, 12, 11,000 miles? That sounds pretty far to me. So far, we match the curses. The Lord shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. And we do understand that they came with the eagle and the sign, and they came as hungry as the eagle because they destroyed our people for the most part. And it wasn't because they were superior, just a simple fact because we fell off. We stopped listening to the Most High, to our Father. We said, nah, we want to do it our way. Okay, you want to fly the plane? I'm just going to sit back and let you fly the plane. And now the plane's crashing, and a lot of us are begging, please help us, Father. Because that's the reality, man. And it says, therefore, thou shalt serve thine... The Lord shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation, let me just emphasize this, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. It says here in the Bible that you will not understand these people. Okay? So for us, we didn't understand them. And it's clear that it's the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a language we've never heard of. We also know, for us, Leviticus 26:22. I want to show y'all real quick. Okay? Leviticus 26:22. It says, and I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children and destroy your cattle. We lost our cattle. I know for a fact our native brothers up north, they lost their cattle, the buffaloes, probably by the buffalo soldiers. That's another topic, which I showed in another class. I just find it coincidental. Same year, same time, same era. Wonder why. and destroy your cattle and make you few in numbers. So when did y'all become few in numbers? I'm curious, because we did. And your highway shall be desolate. I know that here in Tenochtitlan, there were paved streets. We got proof of it. So far, paved streets, the highways will be desolate. So far, we got the plagues, the curses, we got destroyed. Very little people left. They took our cattle, they took our children, and then they used dogs to eat our people. So far, I think so far, I think we hit the curses so far. I'm not trying to be funny. Listen, guys, look, this isn't, look, we always hear them say, this isn't hate. They always tell the white man, this isn't hate. This is real talk. This is truth. This is what they say. This is truth. So listen, bro, let me refer. Actually, I will say that because a portion of you guys is our gente. But see, you're so caught up in this whole colorism and woollyism, right? That you don't even realize that that's not the bottom line. But because you're not Hebrews, most of y'all don't understand that. That's a fact. Jax, get it together, man. I had to do this class because, listen, I'm fed up with, even on my feed on Facebook, I've allowed people to okay, let's see what they're about. Let me see what they're about. And all of a sudden, man, I got a bunch of feed about, Kanye West. You see, we're the Hebrews now. Really, bro? While he's sleeping around with a bunch of heathen women, then all of a sudden now it matters. Why? And that reminds me of the scripture, which I wish I could remember it, but I don't remember. About when the Messiah says you let these rich guys sit in the front, like they make a big deal about it. Matthew something. So far, dogs ate our kids. Our cattle was destroyed. We were left few in numbers, and our highways were desolate. Okay? So far, so good. Now, this also happens even to this day. So this is curses that would be upon us for forever and ever until, right? Okay, let's continue.
Teamwork. It's just a value that I've always carried. I see that every day I go.
Become a versatile and in-demand asset in the workforce with the University of Florida's.
A devastating discovery has been made in Canada. The remains of 215 children have been found buried at the site of a former boarding school for Indigenous students. The school in British Columbia was part of a nationwide scheme that took in First Nations children in an effort to assimilate them into Canadian society. Investigations have shown there was widespread abuse. These latest findings are once again opening a wound that has yet to heal.
Row upon row of children's shoes, each pair marking a lost son or daughter. In Vancouver, people gathered to mourn the 215 children whose remains were found at a former Indigenous residential school, with ground-penetrating radar confirming the grim discovery.
It was shocking at every single level. And, right now, our community is grieving. We all had to take time to absorb, what we were told, what we've seen, and we're still grappling through the effects.
Founded in 1890, the Kamloops School was one of Canada's state-run Indigenous residential schools. After being forcibly separated from their parents, children were made to convert to Christianity and banned from speaking their native languages. Physical and sexual abuse by headmasters and teachers was common. A 2015 report found that over 3,200 children had died from maltreatment and neglect in what it called a cultural genocide. The Kamloops school closed in 1978, but rumours persisted that the deaths of many children had been covered up. Canada's politicians, including Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, said they were heartbroken by the news.
There's nothing more painful in life than losing a child. My heart breaks today thinking of all the loving parents who never saw their children return home.
The Tk'emlúps te Secwépemc Nation says it's working with the coroner and museums to try to shed light on the discovery and find records of.
But because you don't have woolly hair or are looking black, you're not a Hebrew. Remember that, guys. Okay? That's the agenda right now. Even though we are going through the curses to this very day. Oh, I forgot my woolly hair. I must have left it in my past generation. because I mixed with the other nations. At least that's what the one Westerns tell us, right? Let's continue.
The children's deaths.
Oh, thought there was more. Okay. Well, then in that case, let me leave this up because I may actually need it again. And this is just like, where's Kyan, man? I had Kyan in here. Let me close this real quick. Let me see. Thought I had him in here. Give me a second. Let me see. Let me see. Thought I had him in here. Oh well. Well, I mean, we heard it. You know what I mean? Everybody's making a big deal about him. Everybody's making a big deal about this guy. So let me remind some of y'all a little bit more about what we've been through, what's going on with us. And I just find it very awkward, man, that like, you know, 100 million plus of the so-called natives and indigenous people of these lands, right, who were taken on slave ships. You know, we were taken on slave ships. Indian slavery at colonial times, slavery, slave ships. Slave ships proving we've been on slave ships. Slave ships. Slave ships. Slave ships. Slave ships. Slave ships. What else? Slave ships? Conquistadors? Without interpreter? Taken on land? We never knew the language. Look, Deuteronomy. They even wrote about it. The land of one people is invaded by people from another country. Dude, the guy was just literally mentioning prophecy, and he didn't even realize he was doing it. That's why I wrote these down. From a nation from afar. Government imposed upon them. Lamentations 5 and 2. We're aliens. Strangers took our lands. What happened to you? I mean, again, that happened to us. I'm just saying. Let's see what else. Attack ran throughout. We're still going through this. Historians as agents of social control. Still going through it. Slavery. Still going through it. 500 years of not having the Bible. Any mention of it? Has anybody mentioned that? Has anybody ever wondered why they're not mentioning our struggle? Black Lives Matter? I'm trying to look for a pager because, excuse me, I think I may need to get some water. Where are you at? Bear with me, brothers and sisters. Again, if you guys have Facebook, you can find me on Facebook, and I'm always posting everything I find. I don't hold anything back. There's no need for it. It's the Most High. If He provided it for me, then it's because I provided it for my familia. We got books, 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 and books of letting us know that they always assumed that we were the Hebrews. You see this here? That's a black man, a king of Europe. What else? That king, his father passed this law. Partis sequetur ventrum. Okay, watch this. Believed to be James Francis Stewart. Now, this is the IUIC, ISUPK, I believe, Sakari, GMS, all of them really propagandize the Russian icons. Those are Hebrew Israelites. Okay, this guy's a Hebrew Israelite. That's what they're saying, okay? So this Hebrew Israelite, or black Hebrew Israelite, because of the similarities in armor, blah, blah, blah. So they're saying because the whitewashing, right? Was the son of deposed King II of England, such as James III claims the English, Scottish, and Irish throne, which was in the 1700s, right? 1701. So that means his dad ruled before him, okay? And if his dad ruled before him, then his dad was the one that passed this law. And in that law, and I've stole this video to you guys, but you know what, man? We got to see it again. Because you don't hear this a lot, and it's from their own mouth, not mine.
The black men in history like Frederick Douglass and Booker T.
And on top of that, unlike what we were told, like, oh, every black person with a white person, yeah, no matter what, you're a slave. That is not true. And we're going to continue further researching if the curses really do apply. Because remember, guys, it has to be all across the board. You can't be selective. You can't say, oh, well, you know, it's the southern kingdom that went through this curse and then the northern kingdom that went through the other curse. So that's why, you know, no. All Israel went through all the curses. All of them did. That should. So let's find out if they went through this.
The rise into prominence was a melanin deficient parent, in most cases, a father. This outcome was mostly a result of Virginia colonial slave statute Partus sequitur ventrum. That which is brought forth follows the womb, meaning the legal status of a child born of an enslaved Indian woman will always remain enslaved. This law gave planters and free white men in general carte blanche authority to impregnate captured women without having to so much as even claim responsibility for their mixed race children. Just as common, these children were sold on the mulatto maid market as house niggas for an added sticker price as compared to their.
You guys hear that? I have a picture. Watch. Let's see. Let me see if I have it. What is it called? There's a picture you could see. There's a so-called white woman and a so-called black woman, right? And she's like light skinned, and you have a servant, and she's really dark, but you know she's not drawn like as a so-called African. It's more like our sister. You see, they had this plan since the get-go, guys. These enemies, these black and white Europeans of them, because that's what y'all are. Okay, they had an agenda. They have power behind, which is witchcraft. Oh, trust and believe. That's why they've even been able to. When the Most High allowed it, that's why the scriptures say, man, you pushed it too far.
Darker skinned counterparts. In this aspect, Virginia colonial law was totally contradictory to English common law, which states that a child's status follows the father. Of course, this law extending from the earlier Virginia codes was designed this way to assure legalized rape of indigenous women without consequence, and naturally the perpetuation of slavery through a duplicitous modification of English common law. Children born of a white mother and black father were considered free.
Watch this here. This is from Africa's Gift to America. It's showing Africans. The slaves for life were white convicts shipped from Europe. Where? Really? Oh my God. I didn't know that. Okay, let's continue. Let's see here. Which page am I looking for? It says here, I'm thinking this is the first page. Here it goes. Popular history starts that the Negro in the United States in 1619. In 1919, there was a third century observance of it at Jamestown. But this date is based on a letter from John Rolfe. Sir Edwin Sandy is 107 years too late. Negroes first came with the Spaniards, who were the real founders of the United States. Ooh. Black people came with the white man. You see that? Negroes first came with the Spaniards, who were the real founders of the United States. The first of them was Ponce de Leon, who landed in Florida. Easter Sunday, 1512. There seemed to be no record of the number of persons in his expedition or their ethnic origin, but Salvador Brau does mention one Negro, Pedro Mexia, he says, was a mulatto and one of the companions of Ponce de Leon. However, it is safe to assume that there were other Negroes in that expedition, as there was abundant evidence of their being with later Spanish explorers as the Aviles, Hernando de Soto, Narvaez, which we have shown. He was he was a colonialist, a black colonialist. De Ayllon, Coronado, Tristan de Luna. See, all these names are starting to make sense now. Other important facts: Spaniards of the time were much mixed with Negroes and had been from before Moorish invasion of 711 AD. Simon Bolivar reminded Spanish Americans of this time that they were too pure European to begin with. Spain itself, he said, had ceased to be European by its African blood, its institutions of character. Whew. Really? But I thought y'all were, look, an 1828 Webster's Dictionary, Webster's Dictionary, 1828. It says Swarthy, being of dark hue or dusky complexion, tawny. This is in 1828. In warm climates, the complexion of man is universally swarthy or black. The Moors, Spaniards, and Italians are more swarthy than the French, Germans, and English. Woo. So the Moors are not the same as Spaniards or Italians. So then these Spaniards and Italians don't consider themselves necessarily Moors, but they're black. Matter of fact, they're more black than the French and Germans and English. How come this isn't mentioned? Look, you telling me that if you have a black man and a white woman, or a white woman and a black man, however you want to do it, or vice versa, you don't think that these people might have came to our continent and we would have been like, oh, light skin, curly hair, blue eyes? Yeah, hello. You see, the truth is coming out. And the fact is, you guys don't want to face it. Now, you want to write somebody else's heritage. Because here's the reason why you did the chart in the first place. The only way you can actually make the other scriptures apply to you is because you need the chart. Without including the chart, you don't have anything. Think about it. You can go with verse 68, fine. But then what happens to, well, let's read it. Matter of fact, let's go to it, man. Why am I hesitating for? Let's go. Deuteronomy chapter 31, chapter 28. Let's start tackling these things, man. Let's see if we went through the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15, okay? It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Not selective. Okay? Watch this. What are some of them? Let's go to verse 27. The Lord shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, and whereof thou cannot be healed. Now we know that we went through what? What was that? What kind of sickness, what plague did we have? Does anybody know? Right? If you guys know, put it up there. Let me continue, because I know we went through plagues. Right? I'm trying to make y'all think. Verse 33. The fruit of thy land, and all thy labors, a nation which thou knowest not, eat up. You're right, they did that to us. They took our land. And we labor for them. They eat up all our labor. We hardly make any money. We get the lowest pay, no matter what. We do the work that no one wants to do, including the so-called black man. I thought we're the same people. We should have the same characteristics, right? The same spiritual understanding, the same spiritual connection. But no, we're being converted and being told that we're a degenerate gene. Oh, but don't worry about it. In a twinkle of an eye, the fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. Now, we never knew English, ever. Ever. Mexicana, I mentioned that. Smallpox, all praises, Eastside. There you go. There you go. My bad, bro. I'm just glad, because I was actually forgetting, man. That was really, I'm trying to get some help too. Good point. Greek and Italian conquered the supposed known world, so those languages were known throughout 3 known worlds, whereas not known in America, for sure. And here's why. You got a good point. Here's why. as you know, with languages, man, they develop dialects, right? So these Anglo-Saxons, because that's really where their original language was, right? They were battling each other. So then, as you can see, as more migrations happened, the dialect started changing. So later on, like in the 900 AD, 1100 AD, you started really understanding now the difference between English. And then you started seeing other languages. And then you started seeing like actual Spanish, because in Spain and Portugal, Portuguese, Spanish, and Latin and French are very, in English, not English, but they're very similar. Portuguese, I can understand people in Portuguese. I can even understand people in Italian. So it's like Latin, Portuguese, and Spanish is very similar, right? But we did not know none of those languages, because based on scripture, we came over here in 538 BC. 538 BC. Based on scripture, right? Let's continue. What other ones? Verse 35. It says, "And the Lord shall smite thee in the knees and the legs with the sore bots that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head." That happened to us. That happened to us. Smallpox, right? Watch this. Smallpox on the Aztecs and Maya. Look. See, we have records of it. From the head to toe. From head to toe. I'm going to read it over here. And I'm going to put some pictures. Okay? Because I think it's time to we start again. We have to slice this. We have to slice this cat a little bit up, because it's getting out of hand now. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors. No, wait, hold up. Verse 35. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees. Ooh. And in the legs, with a sore bots that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot to the top of the head. Oof. Is this not happening to us? Did it not happen to us? Yes, it did. All right, what else? Verse 36. Let's go to verse 36. Oh, well, verse 35, verse 36. Let's see. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, which we did have several. Aztecs, Mayas, and Incas had them. Unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. We never knew the Anglo man. Ever. Again, thy king. We had a king. Did they? Because if I'm curious to know who was their king. The king of Africa? But Africa doesn't belong to Israel. You gotta really start questioning this, because I find it very ironic that all of a sudden, man, it's like, oh yeah, we're Jews, Jews, black people, Jews. But look, in Europe, back in the day, they used to make these after the black folks left. Why would they make them that way? Unless the leaders of that area or era were like this guy, the same guy that passed Partus Aquatum Ventrum in order to rape our sisters. Look, you see these lottery lands? Cherokee lottery land. You know how they have them? Through the Head Right program. The number square shows the dots that are gold districts, and number square without the dots are land districts. This book shows only those the drew lots in the districts. The 10 counties show are those created in 1832. Yep, immediately after the land lottery. The broken lines show the boundaries of the 10 counties. So, for example, if you have a family member, an indentured servant, well, guess what? Through the Head Right program, you get access to land lottery. So you so-called black man, you so-called white man, as you're coming this way, guess who you're taking land from? And you say we're the same people? We never enslaved the white man, nor did we ever enslave the black man. Look at you guys. Free Negro owners of slaves. United States, 1830. And that's the people that were like hiding. Because you guys didn't even have the audacity to admit that you were doing it. Oh, but you blame the the white man all the time. Look, another book from 1619 to 1865, The Free Negro in Virginia. It shows that you guys were as competitive in owning slaves as the white man. All of these people, you see all that list right there? That's them on the left, and we're just a bunch of numbers. Those are black people that own slaves. And guess who those slaves were? Our gente. Yeah. Look. By the end of century, some 200 men, women, and children from the British Isles would have been transplanted to the British Americas. These are black folks. I've done classes that shows who were in the British Isles. Here's your Russian icons. The impact of more. And I'm going to read a book that shows you. What else? Let's see. Let's continue. Oh, verse 39. It says, thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for worms shall eat them. Okay, so explain to me when that happened to you guys. What vineyard? When did you dress them? When were you drinking them? How were you gathering them if supposedly you left Europe and then went to Africa? You didn't have time to grow all of these things. Because in 1492, all of a sudden, 100 years later, they get enslaved. How the hell does Kunta Kinte enslave you in the first place? If you guys are the superior, knowledgeable people who were already studying trigonometry. Look, these are questions that are legitimate. Why would they then not be legitimate questions? I mean, quite frankly, verse 40, thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive for the olive shall cast his fruits. If you were in the land of a stranger, I don't think this would happen. Verse 43, speaking of which, the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. When were you high and when were you low? I thought you were low when you came here. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. That means that prior to, we would be the leaders, and yet they would not. And then we would now be under their submission. You guys came from Africa. Let's continue. What else do we got? They shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, upon thy seed forever. Where is your land that is being absorbed of resources? And don't say Africa, because if that means that you're Africans and you're not Israelites. And then here goes another one, okay? Where are you at? Verse 64. Verse 65? Yeah, that's verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people. Okay, fine. From one end of the earth and even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which which neither no, God, man, what's going on? Spit it out. Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. If you guys ruled Europe, you knew the white man because you had him in submission. And your fathers knew them because you were ruling Europe since 711 AD. And you were pushing Christianity as well. How do I know? Wait, look. That's how I know. Look at the crosses. Look. Don't they say, oh, look at the black man. He's black. He's black. Okay, that's fine. You want to say it? Okay, cool. What about the cross? I thought you said the white people brought this to you guys. I know they brought it to us. I know that for a fact. But you guys were pushing this already before they conquered y'all. Look, cross after cross. Look, they're going to say like, look, you see the woolly hair, bro? You see the woolly hair? Look at the woolly hair. Okay, cool. What about the crosses? Let's not forget this. You guys know about subliminal messages, right? Subliminal messages means they make comments directly, but indirectly, or indirectly, but directly. They're trying to give you guys a hint, guys. You so-called Hispanics and Native Indians that are in these rooms and you're being bamboozled, man, I pray to God he wakes you up in time, because this is the seal right here. The assumption that this is Christ. Because remember, the first picture was this guy, and then obviously it became too much propaganda, so then he stitched it. But listen what he says.
That the blacks who were colonized and enslaved are indeed the 12 tribes of Israel, according to the biblical text. There's no biblical text that can prove the Jews in the Bible were Caucasians or are Caucasians. There's no biblical text that says or proves Jesus Christ is a Caucasian or white man.
And I want to reaffirm, we're not saying that. We're not saying that at all. We don't believe that the Messiah was a white man. We know that. How can I say this? What we want is the truth. If the Messiah did look that way, then so be it. So be it. But what I'm saying is, you're teaching something that does not correlate, like the brother said, with the curses. Because I'm reminding you guys, okay? The argument isn't whether the Messiah had woolly hair or not, whether he was dark skinned or not, because we say polished brass. Yeah, that's a tan. That's a pretty decent tan. That's like me. Like my son has that golden tan. So I understand that. And when he tans, he gets darker. Okay, yeah. A lot of us go through that. We don't have a problem with it. It's you use the doctrine, you use the curses, and now we're like, wait a minute, hold up. Now we're starting to wake up. We're starting to, like, our spirit is like, wait. Slow your roll, bro. Hold on. How in the hell do you say that? You see, you gave it away when you said you ruled Europe. That was your mistake. If you not had said that, nobody would have paid attention. But then now you make people like me, well, wait a second. Those guys are ruling. And never in one scripture does it say that we would be ruling individually after we go into slavery. Because they're saying, guys, that the tribe of Judah was the one that was ruling in Europe. Look, it says here right here. Let me read that real quick, brother. Hold up. Let me see. It says, it made sense your past videos. The white man used the black African as his foot soldier, physical in reinforcement during early voyages. Bro, they do that still. If you really realize, for every sport, for everything, they go to the black man. That's the white man. It's funny because the way that the Most High works these things, right? So remember, in Judges 3:5, how come they never tell us or explain this? I've asked so many times about this. So who are these guys? Because the scriptures say past, present, future. Okay, so we're going to be repetitively going through things, and it says Judges 3:1. It says, "Now these are the nations which the Lord left." Let me repeat that: which the Lord left, to prove Israel by them. Even as many as of Israel had not known all the wars of Canaan. So at that time, it was physical war, right? We didn't know any better, man. The Most High didn't choose us because we were the tallest, biggest, strongest. Yo, listen, I think in Deuteronomy 20 and Deuteronomy 4, watch, it goes Deuteronomy 4:38. If I'm not mistaken, okay, it just came to my mind. All praise to the Most High if it's correct. Deuteronomy 4:38. To drive out nations before, yeah, that's right. To drive out nations before thee, greater and mightier than thou art, to bring thee in, to give thee their land for an inheritance as it is this day. So we were not a mighty nation of people. Whoever said that? That's Israel. Why would the Most High go out of his way to help people that are superior and mightier? They don't need any help. They have their own physicality, which is already conquering other nations. But you know what? When you start teaching Black Hebrew Israelism and you realize that it's such a carnal doctrine, then you go, wait a minute. Deuteronomy 28 is not making sense unless you have verse 68. Then it just hit me. Boom. I go, oh, okay. Well, let me explore this. Let me read this. It says, the afro, they say the woolly hair. Let's see. One, woolly characteristic. Look it up. The never is afro hair. The afro is so called. It's simply the halo around the head of all the pagan Egyptian gods. Oh man, I gotta look into that. I gotta look into that. And here's another thing, sis, because they forget. You know who also has woolly hair? Samoans have woolly hair. Like I grew up with Samoans. They have woolly hair. Like I'm talking about thick, 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 thick. Look, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, right? I do watch sports. And Tua, he's got woolly hair. So what are you saying? Is the Most High and the Messiah Samoan too, potentially? You see where you can go off? And if we really want to be technical, they got some Awasi sheep over there that is not like the actual sheep. It's long but thick. You want to be technical? And see, that's the point. We're not arguing about whether it does or it doesn't, because you can swing Revelations 1:14 and 15 to your liking. That's not the point. The Bible said that it has to apply to you. The scriptures have to be black and white pieces on the chessboard. That's right. The black and white pieces on the chessboard. Oh, no, I know what you mean, right? Yeah, that's them. That's hey man, you know what? That is exactly them. I have a class on my notes, which I was going to bring that out. Oh, praises, bro. You reminded me of that class. Oh man, all praises. I forgot about it. But in reality, when it comes to the scriptures, it's just black and white. It's very simple. You either go through the curses or you don't. You either show the spiritual aspect of who you are or you don't. And so far, listen, man, I've tried it, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, the spirit does not bear witness. So if I'm not a Hebrew because I don't bear spirit witness to their spirit, then hey, man, I don't know what to tell you. All I know is the scriptures tell me otherwise. The scriptures have told me otherwise now. Because you know what? I did that rigorousness. I went through the look. So now check this out. So let's now confirm. He said that these guys, look.
All the biblical texts prove that Christ is black. Moses was black. The Apostle Paul was black. And the 12 tribes of Israel are black. And the 12 tribes of Israel are black. And the 12 tribes of Israel are black.
He said it in such a wicked, sarcastic manner that I had to pay attention to that. I had to pay attention to that. It wasn't like with a very humble aspect, like, yeah, in the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, even if you're in Africa. No, you said in the 12 tribes of Israel are black. Fopi, this is a perfect video for you to push. By all means, please do. And you know what's so funny? Y'all fought so hard that we are not the same people that you made us actually dig in and say, let's find out if we're not. And guess what? It was your guys' reason why we found out that we're not the same people. So in a sense, thank you, Fopi. We really want to thank you because of your ignorance and hate towards our gente. You really let us determine who the real Israelites are. Watch this. This is from the Year for Africa, History of Africa. I've showed this book many times, but I have to say it again, and I got to show it again because you know what? Not one school has ever hit my page and said, you're wrong. Here's a video. You're teaching the wrong thing. Not one. Daniel says he is beryl colored. That's copper colored, not black. That's right. It's copper colored. Copper color is like, well, we've seen it, like reddish, which is why, you know, when you look at Adam 2:7, Adam is Adamah, right? The ground is called Adamah in I guess Hebrew or Jiddish or whatever you want to translate it to. And it means red earth. I've done a class on that. Are people mimicking white rich man's American dream and hoods promote black street gangsters and rap? Yeah, man. No joke. Prosperity doctrine or let me kill him, F the woman. And you know, I remember when I was going to these classes, my wife, man, she's got a very good spirit, man. She's very humble. We're very different. She's very quiet. She only speaks when she really needs to say something. Really, man. We get along, and not because I talk a lot, because we just have a similar spirit. And she would always say, why are they doing these classes on all these women? God, man, are they that evil? I'm like, look, listen, it doesn't apply to you, so just ignore it. But it's like every week, get it together. Women this, women that, women this, women that. And I'm like, yo, man, what? I don't have that problem at home. And their assumption was that I did. And I'm like, no. Oh, your daughter's probably trying to like hoe out. Like, no, man. No, like, no. Who you think I am? It's because it's not the assumption. It's the spirit within them. Latinos, Hispanics, and Native, we're different. And we all have that connection within ourselves. We may be in the island. We may be in South America, Central, Mexico, in the north. But there is just something about our spirit that connects fast. The humility is the most important thing about our gente, man. The most important thing about our gente is the humility. Because you can go, look, when I was like about maybe 4 or 5, right? I was, and I said it before, I was born in Guadalajara. And we had some neighbors across the street, and the mom stayed home, and the dad worked in the railroad tracks, and they were very poor. But I kid you not, man. Every time I would come over, they used to call me Chicharo, right? Every time I'd come over, they're like, "Hey, Chicharo, come inside." All they had was beans and like just bread, bro. That's all they had. That's all they had. You know what I'm saying? And in reality, they were so willing to open their hearts. It didn't care to them that they didn't have enough. And you know what? Our gente's like that. Dude, we'll take our shirts off for a friend. That's a spiritual thing. And the scriptures say, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And that is what I'm trying to show y'all. That you guys are the Bible itself. We represent every single spiritual aspect. Look, the food we eat, the only insects that are allowed to eat in the Bible, or I think one of the few, is for sure locusts or grasshoppers. We have that in Americas. Fringes, we have it. Ceviche is in the Bible. Tacos is in the Bible. We honor your parents. The other nations, they kind of just move on, man. You know that the so-called white man, we know what they do. You know what they do. But yet we have the spiritual aspect of it. Now let's see this. Let's read. Let's read this. Here it goes. Moreover, this part of the whole world is inhabited especially by 5 principal nations, to wit, by the people called Kafri or Kafetas. This is to say outlaws or lawless, by the Abyssinians, Egyptians, the Arabians, and the Africans or Moors. Here we go. Remember, they said that the Moors are their gente. Okay, fine, they are. And the Africans or Moors, properly so called, which last are of 2 kinds, namely white or tawny Moors. So you see what I'm saying? The so-called Sephardic Jews. Yeah, you're right, brother. In other words, Yakasha, they hate us because they ain't us. Hey, man, straight up. Because you want to know something? How can you go? This is when you know the spirit is gone. How can you go from like years of teaching the same thing and all of a sudden, whoop, all because of some kid? It wasn't even an adult. One voice, one kid, one thought. And that's all it took. He's gone. Now, even if he regrets it, he can't come back. What are we going to say? Nah, bro, what do you mean? No offense, brother. And you know what, man? I care for him because he showed me about the lunar because I was a little bit off and I had reached out and asked him about it and he was helpful. So it pains me to see that particular thing. So let's continue. Proper so-called, which are left. There are 2 kinds, Negroes or blackamoors. Okay, watch. Of all which nations, some are Gentiles, which worship idols. Others are of the sect of the Mohammeds, meaning they were Islam. Some others Christians, and some Jewish in religion. The Sephardic Jews. The greatest part of which people are thought to be descendants of Ham, the cursed sons of Noah, except some Arabians of the lineage of Shem. All right, that's one. All right, let's go to this other one. It goes, let's see. Howbeit, this is page 6. Okay, it says, howbeit, the enemy, no, it's right here. All which opinions and reports are to be understood only of the original of the Tani people, that is to say, of the Numidians and barbarians. For all the Negroes, here it goes. For all, hold on. For all the Negroes and blackamoors take their descendant from Cush, the son of Cam, who was the son of Noah. But whatsoever difference between the Negro and the Tani Moor, whether he's white or dark-skinned, certain it is that they all have one beginning. For the Negroes are descendants of the Philistines, and the Philistines of the Mizraims and the son of Cush. But the Tani Moor, fetched their pedigree from the Sabians, and it is evident that Saba was begotten of Ramah, which was the eldest son of Cush. Then it says, diverse opinions there be as touching this matter, which because they seem not so necessary, we have purposely omitted. This was actual Leo Africanus, a black man born in Granada. Born in Granada. You telling me this guy knows more than him?
It's that the blacks who were colonized and enslaved are indeed the 12 tribes of Israel.
You telling me he knows more than Leo Africanus? Let's see.
According to the biblical text, there's no biblical text that can prove the Jews in the Bible were Caucasians or are Caucasians. There's no biblical text that says or proves Jesus Christ is a Caucasian or white man. All the biblical texts prove that Christ is black, Moses was black, the Apostle Paul was black, and the 12 tribes of Israel are black.
Meaning African looking, okay? So you're saying that the Negroes are the Israelites, but this guy says, who is an African, who was in Granada when you guys were ruling Europe, he says all the Negroes and blackamoors come from Ham. You want some more? Let's give him some more. Let's see. Which one am I looking for? Is this it? Cam. Oh, here goes. He identifies himself not as a Hebrew. Look. And this man is over there at that time. At that time. Wouldn't they say this at that time? That they know who they are? Yes, they would. But see, these guys, they either don't know who they are and they're trying to steal our heritage, or they know who they are and they're playing checkers, playing the chess game, which basically means that they got support. Somebody's very behind this movement, which is a movement. It says the Egyptians, as Moses, page 298. The Egyptians, as Moses writeth, fetch their original from Mizraim, the son of Cush, the son of Ham or Cam, the son of Noah. And the Hebrews call both the country and the inhabitants Egypt by the name Mizraim. Same book. Watch this real quick. Hold on, let me see. Maybe I still have the page up. I'm gonna show y'all something. Let's see. What am I looking for? Let me see. You can see. Look. This is from Let the Blood Stay Pure. This book here. Okay? Again, if you guys have Facebook, look for me. I share everything I got. Watch what it says on page 67. They say we're the same people. Let's find out. The year 1619 has been earmarked as the earliest date of arrival for Negroes to the English colony, yet they accompanied Spanish North American expeditions almost a century before. Let me read it again. Yet they accompanied, that doesn't mean like slavery, does it? No. Meaning they took partnership. Spanish North Americans expeditions almost a century before the English arrived in Virginia. There is also evidence that they cohabited with the Aborigines in the earlier 17th century. In 1603, 7 Negroes escaped from St. Augustine, and some maintaining their freedom and marrying Indian women. The Franciscans found Negroes, remember, the Negroes appear, and Indians cohabiting together in Florida, and repeatedly admonished the Aborigines that it was unclean to keep Negro mistresses. Really? But these were the men. You see the trickery in the words? Yeah. They were told not to mix with us. Here's another one. In this book here, I'm not going to read it, but this man right here, James Beckworth, he was a black man that acted like our people. And he went around killing a bunch of our gente, our native brothers and sisters. Watch. In what book is this called? I forget what book it's called. Let me see. Oh, Black Indians. He goes right here. When Beckworth, it says, in 1866, Beckworth died of food poisoning while traveling to or from Crow Village. This simple fact has given rise to a legend. He was invited back to the Crow people by those who hoped he would consent to lead them again. When Beckwourth refused, the legend continued, he was given a feast and poisoned. Why? Because this guy actually had 500 Indians killed because one of his, I guess, captains told him, and if not, he was going to kill him. So he's like, all right, fine. And he actually played the role like he was friends, tell him to line up, we're all good, and let the white man shoot him. Yep, that was a black man. I think this is it. Oh, yeah. Look, watch this. The chief not only agreed, but here it goes right here. His Indian, oh, this is bad. Watch this. His Indian wives invariably were loyal. And this is what bothers me about some of our gente, man. Y'all just us are silly doves sometimes, man. Daughters of chiefs who would do Beckwourth some good. No woman ever held him for very long. And one Blackfoot chief daughter was almost killed by Beckwourth on their wedding night. When she refused to obey his command not to dance, he clobbered her with the side of an axe. Turning to her father, he explained that this discipline had to be maintained. Watch this. The chief not only agreed, but gave him a new daughter. That night, Beckwourth and the second wife of the day was spending their presents. I see, wonder what. And then taking his leave. Watch this here. In 1830, he served the U.S. Army Scout Seminoles, a war against black Seminole allies. Enemies were enemies. He dressed and looked and acted like a Native American, but he wasn't at all. And you just go through my page, and it's like slavery owners of our people left and right, and y'all are saying that, look, this isn't 100 years ago. Look at how these dress. 1700s. Look at all these black men out here talking. Look at this guy with his glasses. Are they suffering? What curses are y'all talking about? Oh, that's right. Only after the Civil War. I wonder why. The white man got tired of you guys outvoting them. That's exactly what happened. Look. Sigma Pi Phi fraternity. In 1890 something. We had no fraternity whatsoever. Here's the secret. These guys knew this land. The Jew and Negro. Did the Negroes know of America? Dionysius Siculus tells, here, let me magnify it. And I'm almost done. Diculus tell us that the Phoenicians in earlier times sailed beyond Hercules pillars up along the African coast, and there, meeting with storms and tempests, were carried to the remotest parts of the ocean. And after many days came to a vast island and a great distance in Libya and lying very far west. The Phoenicians informed the Carthaginians of this place. The Carthaginians prohibited other nations from settling in it, they reserving it for themselves as a place of retirement if they should ever be driven from their native soil. Does that sound remotely ironic? In this book online, hermano, we love to have it. Yeah, it is. Which one? So why IUIC accepting so-called Latinos and Native Americans should promote all Negro doctrine? Yeah, exactly. And you know why? They do it because the only way, you should start talking about the Huguenot brothers. Yeah, I actually have some, I dug into it, but those guys, there's a lot of material, and you would have to use a lot of different books in order to identify them because they're very secretive. That's what I keep finding. But I will get to that point. Right now, it's more of like just teaching our people, you know what I mean? Like what's important right now. And which book are you talking about, sis? Is this book line? You mean like the Jew and Negro? If you can answer. No. It's called the book The Jew and Negro. It's funny because like it's their own book, and they use these books to promote that the so-called black man is a Hebrew Israelite, but then they expose themselves even at the same time. Hi, man, it's just, I find it so interesting because the more you explore, the more you find that they didn't suffer much.
And were counted among free people of color. White men were freely allowed to abandon.
Oh, yeah, you can get it online and archive.org, or you can get it here. Watch, this is where I ordered it. Okay, you may be able to order it, guys. All right, so I went here. You go to a books. This is a good place to order books, right? So I have like an account with them. So this is it. It's coming on. It's on its way. So I have it like on PDF, but I wanted the book, and these guys actually printed. They printed for you. Okay, so again, it was $30. I don't know how much it will cost now. I'm assuming it's still the same. It'll take about maybe 20 days to get it. But look, I love to have things in my hand, so in case I don't have access to internet, I can show my family, right? And I'm talking about y'all. Let's see. I will watch the replay. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So always make sure that you write down what I show, because everything I show is for you guys. It's for you guys, okay? It's not for me. I already have it. It's for you guys. So these are the places: archive.org, abebooks.com, Amazon, PDF ways. There's ways to research. Like, for example, if you want to look for, I don't know, something like this, right? And then at the end, put PDF or put free. And then you'll see if they actually have it. See, like, for example, like this, see, an archive.org came up with that. So they'll take you back to the archive.org if they have it in PDF. You see what I'm saying? Listen, guys, for whatever reason, the Most High blessed me with research, like researchability, and I can find whatever y'all need, man. I'm telling you. All praises to the Most High. That's what matters. But anyhow, that's a good option to go, okay? So just keep that in mind. Let me continue, and then we're almost done. All right, let's see. Look, here's another one. I read that already. This right here. This is that book called Jews and Muslims of British Colonial America. Okay. So this is why I always stress, don't jump onto some bandwagon unless you really know that history. You see, the Phoenicians were converts. Okay. All those so-called Israelites up there were converts. They're actual Phoenician Canaanites. They're Canaanites. Okay. So these Jews and Muslims, they are like it says, Leo Africanus said it. They were Christians, they were Muslims, they were Jewish, but at the end of the day, they were all what? They were all Canaanites. At the end of the day, they were all Canaanites. And if you look through this book, you'll find yourself where it's consistently talking about slavery. Right? Look. He was one of the 20 Jews who were court musicians. A descendant, Mark Antony, was sent to school in Italy to his father, but ran away. Was captured by Algerian pirates and sold into slavery, supposedly, right? The captain of British ships took pity on him, carried him to America, and resold him to pay for his passage, 1698. A farmer of Kentucky brought him for 3 years. The young man ended up establishing a trading post. Marion Isabel Hart of a leading Jewish trader family. Jewish traders of what? Of our people. Jewish mercantile company of our people. Crypto Jews, not our people. You see what I'm saying? You guys call yourselves crypto Jews, bro. Like, I don't know why you don't understand. You haven't dissected this history. And you want to call yourselves a Sephardic Jew? You're basically saying you're not our gente, fool. Excuse my language. Look, the canary served, like, you look through this book, all through it, and all you find is that the Jews had everything to do with the slavery. The Jewish ones. In the meantime, Jews and other created ownership, blah, blah, blah. There has to be no slavery, supposedly. Watch this. I'm going to show y'all the picture. Hold up. What's this? Look at that. Jews and Muslims. You think these guys maybe would be mixed? Black and white? Look at this guy. I've seen a lot of people around that look like him. Blue eyes. That is actually a trait of the Phoenicians from Europe. So you so-called black man or a black woman that has that features, you need to really check your DNA if you're calling yourself an Israelite. A lot of people in the like Creoles, they are them. A lot of them. But you see, y'all don't even want to know that, or you don't care to know that. I mean, I already showed the Negro slaves. I already showed everything, the natives being sold. Watch this. I got one more, and that's it. Pilgrim steers controversy 30 years on, right? Apparently that they made a play and they had black people in it. And they started controversy, but no, not really, man. What they were doing is they were actually, look, that it says, was there black pilgrims breaking bread with the Puritans in 1620? That question caused a huge controversy in 1880 when the Plymouth Plantation in Plymouth, Massachusetts hired a black actor to portray a pilgrim. You know why? Because it was true. Most of them were black. They were mixed. That's why when you see movies, you see all like the so-called, like the movies are like the videos I always show, right? And you have people that have like supposedly like straight hair, or I mean wavy hair, but it's stiff. Why? Because that's the way that they do their style. It's stiff, right? You guys never noticed that? It doesn't move. It's stiff. They're giving us a hint. Look, I'll show you a little bit, and that's it.
Or kill their children without recourse, solidifying their position as the first deadbeat privileged children of whites, which populace they claim to represent. At the root of their influence were wealthy white from the people.
Look at how they live, even in that time. Black folks are Masons. Usually you say it's a white man, but this is since the beginning. You see, all of this comes from the Canaanites. This comes from the Canaanites. That right there. Okay? In case y'all don't know that.
Most Aristocrats share this common problem, their social detachment from the general populace they claimed to represent.
Hey, sis, yeah, it says, watch this, I'll show you. I think Zechariah 14:21. Zechariah 14:21 says, yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord of hosts. And all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and seat it therein. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts. So that means that they're in it right now. Means they're in our book. Meaning they're trying to get in there, right? The Most High is going to expose them, and they're little by little exposing them. Hey, this isn't hate talk, guys. It's just facts. You said that we're the same people. Okay, well, let's compare it. Thanks to Fopi, made us wake up. Like, actually, you know what? We're not. Thank you, Fopi. Appreciate y'all. Not trying to be funny, but I guess I am. Because I know for a fact that I'm a Hebrew. I don't know about you guys. I know for a fact that our gente are the indigenous ones. Because guess what? We're not boastful. And nobody's even paying attention to us. Nobody. Psalms 83 all over again. Let us cut them off from being a nation that the name of Israel never will be in remembrance. You see, the thing about America is, man, anything they promote, for a fact, you know there's something fishy about it. It should never be that easy. It should never be that easy. Because there's no way that they would be able to do, like, that's not the white man. The white man always likes to hold things back, and the things that don't matter, here you go, guys. Feed it. Feed them. Feed them. Feed them. We got distraction. We got going on. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. Let's do it. Let's do it. Why? To keep us asleep. Because a lot of us look at it like, man, damn, then they're really Israel. We're not Israel then. No, man. Stop saying that to yourselves. You guys are. I mean, look, I have enough evidence to show that there's nothing that they show that they are Israel. Not in Africa, not here, not in the curses. I mean, if you take away verse 68, you don't have anything. So the only way to work it is you do a 12-type chart and say, yeah, we're the same people. Because then you can say, yeah, they took your land. You see that? They took our land. That's why you have IUIC saying, well, give us our land back. Which one? Africa? Israel? Or you talk about America? Because this ain't your land. The only way you say that is if you create a 12-chart chart. I got one more page and that's it. Let's see. Where you at? Where you at? Where are you? Where are you? Holocaust. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Here it goes. Here it goes, guys. Holocaust. You see, we had a great nation once. A nation of people that never knew who the so-called white man or the black man were. At least not the French, the Dutch, the Spaniards, the Portuguese, the Germans, the Russians, none of them. Y'all need to be proud of who you are, brothers and sisters. This is from the Holocaust, page 4 and 5. When we saw so many cities and villages built in water and other great towns built on dry land and the straight and level causeway going towards Tenochtitlan, we were amazed and said that it was like the enchantment they tell of in the legend of Amadis. On the account of the great tower and the temple and building rising from water and all but a masonry, and some of the older soldiers even asked whether the things they saw were not a dream. About 60,000 pale stucco houses filled islands, metropolis. Some of them are single-story structures, some of them multi-story. All of them, these houses, wrote Cortez, have very large and very good rooms. Also very pleasant gardens of various sorts of flowers, both upper and lower flowers. That's our ente right there, man. I got a lot of trees, a lot of fruit trees. I may not have a lot of space, but hey, man, I got fruit trees. My wife has a lot of plants. Our gente is like that. Oh, watch this. The many streets and boulevards. Remember this scripture? The boulevards, right? Which one is it? That's 34. Give me a second. Captivity, that's very low and deal. I'm looking for the scriptures that talk about and your lands will be desolate. Let me see. Let me find it real quick. Give me a second. Leviticus. Land. No. I wonder why I can't find it. Anyways, well, it talks about that, right? Lands will be less desolate. Your lands or your road or your path or something will be desolate. So we had boulevards. We had pavements. Look, 1,000 workers cleaning this place up. So I'm going to show y'all something. They knew who we were. They saw this place in the past. I've showed this page to you guys before. This is that guy, Diodorus Siculus. Topostext.org. And you look for 519. Oh, passed it. Watch what his says, okay? Watch this, guys. Hope you pay attention. Write this stuff down. This is the proof. They knew who we were. Watch. But now that we have discussed what relates to the islands which lie in the Pillars of Hercules, we shall give account of those which are in the ocean. For there lies out in the deep of Libya an island considerable size, and situated as in the oceans distant from Libya, a voyage of numbered days to the west. Its land is fruitful, much of it being mountains, and not little being a level plains of surpassing beauty. Through it flows navigable rivers. Watch this. I'm going to show y'all something. Why did I close it? Oh, that's dumb. It talks about navigable rivers, right? Watch this. The many streets of all of our cities were so neat and well swept, despite its multitude of inhabitants. The first Europeans to visit never tired of remarking the city's cleanness and order. Okay? Now watch this real quick. Tenochtitlan, in this respect, reminded Spain of the enormous Venice, but it also had remarkable floating gardens and reminded them nowhere else on earth. While the European cities then, for centuries thereof, took their drink drinking water came from springs deep within the mainland and was piped into the city by huge aqueduct systems that amazed Cortez and his men. Watch what it says here. Right here. It was a land fruitful, much of it being mountains, and not a little being a level plain of surpassing beauty, though through it flowed navigable rivers, which are used for irrigation. The island contains many parks planted with trees of every variety and gardens in great multitudes, which are traversed by streams of sweet water, aqueducts. On it also are private villas of costly construction, and throughout the gardens, banqueting houses have been constructed in settlings of flowers, and in them the inhabitants pass their time during the summer season, since the land surpluses in abundance everything which contributes to the enjoyment and luxury. Luxury. The mountainous parts of the island is covered with dense thickets. It says, in inviting men to life among the mountains, it has cozy glens and springs, great numbers. In other words, this island is well supplied of spring of sweet water, which not only makes the use of it enjoyable for those who pass their life there, you Hebrew, you natives, you Indians, you Aztecs, you so-called Aztecs, you so-called Mayas, you so-called Incas, you Native Americans, you so-called Hispanics, Latinos, the islanders, they're talking about us. They knew what was here. This is not a coincidence. The so-called black man is not our people. Now, are there some of them? Yeah, because they mix with the other nations. But that's something they're going to have to dig. Because see, as a Latino and Hispanic, we already deal with that. It's okay. Now, we've gone through the rigorousness. Now, you guys got to do it. Then it says, there's also excellent hunting of every manner of beast, wild animal, the inhabitants well being supplied. I mean, you could just read it and you could just see, man, they knew this place. Climate, location, the shores. The Phoenicians knew, look, the instituting magnificent sacrifices were conducted after the manner. Oh, look, watch. Watch this real quick. In the city they built, well, okay, maybe this isn't it. This is somewhere else now. Let's see. No, this is it. Hold on. They instituted significant sacrifices which were conducted after the manner of Phoenicians, and it has to come to pass. And I think it was you, Mexican, that had mentioned about how they were saying the Toltecs, right? That they're a gente. But here it shows that the Canaanites did actually come here, man. They knew this place, right? And that's where the whole sacrificial aspect came when we started bugging out. Yep. We started bugging out. Let's see. What's it say? This is really shocking information. Contradicts everything I've been taught. Yep. I'm honestly trying to learn this side since I've only heard the native enslaved Negroes and Hispanics being second. Nah, man. Not at all, bro. Listen, they had what's called indentured servitude. So what happens is they would come from Europe. Like, let's say you and I are related, right? Well, we technically are. If you're a Hebrew, if you're indigenous. So let's say we're related and you go, hey, Emmanuel, listen, man, I'm in America, bro, and I can get you over here. So there's a program called Head Right. So what happens is you're an indentured servant. They give me the land. You're like a down payment, right? Because you're going to work the land. And that's how they became. That's exactly what. How do you think they ended up having so much land? Obviously. How did you gain so much land? You have rich, wealthy, so-called black people with a lot of land. And this is the thing, guys. If you really look into it, they own banks. They own this. I mean, they're not on the bottom. They make it seem like it, but they're represented in the government. They got football players, basketball players, soccer players. They play sports in every way. Basketball, baseball. Like, where are you on the bottom? But we get promoted all of a sudden. Oh, black people dying left and right. But the Hispanics, when do you hear about them getting shot? Well, what I mean is, in regards to like us being here of the Americas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gracias, Father, man, for helping us through. Because you know what? When they took this book from us, it destroyed us. In the book I've read with you guys before, it talks about like they just gave us all kinds of nonsense. Ave Maria, Padre Nuestro, Diez Mandamientos, El Credo, and el Rosario. That's all we were taught. But they had the Bible the entire time. And that slave Bible wasn't for them. It was for our people. Anyhow, you guys can look through this. It's a great source of information. It shows that they knew who we were. It shows that. Listen, we'll look at it one more time, and then that's it. That's it. I'm going to show you this one more time. All right. So now let's compare it to what they're saying. So they ruled Europe. They ruled Europe, right? Okay. But see, that doesn't make sense. If they ruled Europe, then you can't apply the scriptures. You can't go to Deuteronomy 28:49 because it says, what does Deuteronomy 28:49 say? It says, here, I'll put it over here. It says, the Lord shall bring a nation against you from far. That's not far. I have a book that shows that that's only 2 hours, a 2-hour boat ride. Matter of fact, you can get your little like canoe type of boat and you can make it. Quite frankly, they're the first wetbags, if you really put it that way, because we're just a skip and a hop. They had to pass a whole ocean. Both of them are all wetbags. All of them. Not us. They are. So you see, 2 hours. A nation from afar? From the end of the earth? What? What end of the earth? There's no end of the earth here. And then it says a language that neither you nor your fathers have known. You knew English, you knew French, you knew Dutch, you knew Russian, you knew what else? Norwegian. You knew all of those. You knew Russian too. You knew like Spanish, Portuguese. You knew them all. Does make it make sense, guys? This isn't hate. We just want facts. We've been told wrong. We've been taught wrong by the so-called white man. And the last thing I want to do is go back and, hey, listen, it's like the song that I like playing. The song I like, hold on, let me take off the other one. The song I like playing, it says, look at what the devil has done. Now it's got me asking some stranger for advice. The desolate land you were looking for, Ezekiel 20. Let me get it. I think so. Let's see. Ezekiel 12:20. Ezekiel 12:20, because I was in Ezekiel today earlier, was reading it. Ezekiel 12:20. It says, and the cities that are inhabited shall be laid waste, and the land shall be desolate, and you shall know that I am the Lord. Yeah, the cities. So what cities were laid waste in Africa? There's no city. Ezekiel 33:28. It says, for I will lay the land most desolate, and the pomp of her strength shall cease, and the mountains of Israel shall be desolate, and none shall perish. You know the mountains of Israel, you know what the mountains mean? That means the power. The power of Israel shall be desolate. And that's what happened to us. Ezekiel 36:24. 34. It says, and the desolate land shall be tilled, whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that pass by. Shall be. I think this is more in the future. Thus say the Lord God, in the day that I shall have cleansed you. Yeah, it's a prophetic part here. All praises. Let's end it with that, and let's see what else. You didn't hear a lick from U.S. national media in regards to text? Nah, man, not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, what was it? I did a class. Oh, that's okay. So here's it goes, guys. Let me show you a little bit. So when I first opened this channel, which is in May, I did a lot of videos, right? And then apparently, like the algorithm just shut me down. So I took down the videos. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna save them. I bought an external hard drive, and all of a sudden, my external hard drive completely died on me. It shredded all my data. Now I'm being charged like almost thousands of dollars to get my data from $100 box that I had bought. That's not a coincidence. As soon as I started bringing these classes, that happened. Bam! It exploded. I've had my computer for quite some time, guys. You got to find that very, very interesting. Yeah, this is in the future. All praises. So anyhow, but other than that, I appreciate you, family, man. You guys have stuck around. And remember, I'm going to say this again. And for all you brothers and sisters that are struggling, listen, I do these classes to stay sober. I ain't lying, man. I really am. I need y'all. Lord willing, y'all do the same. Lord willing, we start seeing each other as family. Because for quite some time, we've been living like the fallow ground, all broken, separate, but we're all from the same root. That's why I played that video the other day. That one bean creates a big root, and guess what? All those roots connect. We're connected, guys. That movie Avatar is really about us. Use your spiritual eyes. Watch it again. All right? I got something for you, though, man. I think you're going to like this song. And I was saving for it for this time. And let me see if I can find it. Because I don't think I've played it for y'all. I don't think I have. Let's see. And again, these guys are, they're young men, and I'm sure that they do some stuff, man. I can't stop it, but you know what I'm saying? I really appreciate the message that they bring, because it just says that, hey, man, a lot of people are spiritually empty, and they're trying to discern themselves as who they are. That's all we're all trying to do, man. Honestly. Here, give me a second. Let me see. It's not this one. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay, give me a second here. All right, let's see if I can find it. ¿Dónde estás? Oh, come on, let me find it. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. I'm gonna find it quick. Let's see. Where are you at? Over here. Okay. Oh, here it goes. All right. So anyhow, hope you guys like it. I like the message, man. These guys mention a lot about like brotherhood. They mention it a lot, which is what I like. Okay. So, hey, shalom, family, Most High. Well, God, I was so used to saying that. Shalom, family. What I mean is that, man, Lord willing, man, you all done been blessing. Y'all in, blessed. And I'm going to pray for you, brothers and sisters that are actually here listening. I appreciate y'all. And you know what? Pray for each other, man. All you brothers and sisters that are listening, you may not know each other, but pray for each other, man. Just think about the names. Scattered Israelite, pray for that brother. Mexican, pray for that brother. MSD, pray for that brother. You know what I'm saying? Don't pray for yourselves only. Pray for each other. Pray for Eastside 115. When you pray for Shaka Anan, you know what I'm saying? Y'all need to be like, pray for Turquoise Prince. You got to think like that. And guess what? The more you pray for others, the more the Most High is going to start awakening your spirit. Okay? So anyways, love y'all, man. Appreciate you sticking around. And I'm sure my family's like looking for me so I can do, because all I do is this: work, family, scripture. That's it. All right? You family, you take care. All right? Shalom. Hold up.
Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo, wow. Quieren pensar, sin ni siquiera estar al mando. Tanta publicidad subliminal te está matando. Les cuesta decidir por sí mismos cuál es su mando. Publican sonrisas con el corazón llorando. Quieren brillar, pero sin tener que valerse de tener sus ideas propias. Veo a todos igual, solo son la réplica de la imitación de una triste copia. Obedece, la vida es un suspiro y envejeces. Te dejas distraer por estupideces y pierdes el eje. Te duele por dentro, entonces te creces, pero aceptas mucho menos de lo que mereces. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. Conserva tu juicio y tu intuición, más activos que el que lucha por lo suyo y no se rinde. Yo ya sé bien cuál es mi misión, y es contarte que el mal por su propio pie pronto se extingue. Pero caigas bajo su control, pues por la televisión es normal que mal lo pinte. Tú mantente firme en conexión con la fuente de creación, vivirás siempre de fin de. Dios abre los ojos, dime lo que ves. A tus propios hijos matándose por billetes. Niños por cada 2 por 3. Pa' unos es bendición, con otros por su causa pequen. Y yo que intento ser un ser crístico, voy bendiciendo a los diablos. Piensan que es cierto el mensaje típico. Dicen que invento lo del engaño. Y mientras lucho contra mis errores, demonios escucho, me ofrecen soluciones. Pero sé que hay un ángel que quiere que mejore. Me dice hace un trabajo interno antes de que lo ignores. Antes que otra vez llores y se llenen los mares de pena y de dolores, ya que en mi mente no caben. La paz no va en un sobre, somos algo importante. Nunca te revelaste y por eso no lo sabes. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido, Todos repiten lo que dice el referente. Discursos vacíos lejos de ser coherentes. De lo que no sabes será mejor que no inventes. Investigues y no te dejes lavar la mente. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo,